Hello YouTube, it's that time of the week again where I'm putting out an Ashes video. Hopefully they will be fairly consistent from here going out on Sundays or Mondays of the week up until the point where we are allowed to stream them, which is only 12 days away. We are getting so close. I'm really excited to be able to stream the game and show it off. This was originally going to be a 3-part series, this being the last part of the series, but I'm going to put out one more video next week. I don't know if it'll be as long as these ones have been, but I feel like I need to do that. But let's get into today's topic, Ashes of Creation, From Good to Great, Part 3. And today we're going to be talking about escapism. And so a lot of us, obviously, the reason we watch TV, we read comic books, manga, we play video games, is to escape normals of everyday life. And so I think the third part of this trifecta, the things that they need to deliver on to be a great game, is allowing us to escape. And so how, as a video game, do you do that? Well, you do it with your graphics. You do it with the feel of combat. You do it with the story you tell. For an RPG, the quests that you do, as well as with an MMORPG, the interaction with other players can be part of the escapism. Now, the first video in this series was all about the community, but I'm going to touch a little bit about other players on this as well. And so, before we, or not before, let's just jump right in and talk about graphics. So, I am a little worried about the Ashes of Creation graphics. Right now, they look amazing. The feel, the flow, everything is great. But Ashes has gone for a bit of a realistic graphic style. And that can be a real boon when a game first comes out, and a real detriment later on. And so, because the graphics look so good right now, that is going to be a boon. That is going to be something that helps out. In 10 years, is that still going to be the case? So you look at a game like World of Warcraft, using that because it is the biggest MMO out there. A lot of people have played it. It has more of a cartoonish style to it, which gives it much more of a long-lasting life. Same thing with, if you look at a lot of older video games like the Mario games. It's all cartoonish, it's not realistic. Whereas you go back and you play original, like Call of Duty, that was supposed to be really, really realistic, and I remember at the time it was, top-end graphics, but now it doesn't compare in any way, shape, or form. And so, graphics is not the biggest issue out there, and I know that because we still have people playing RuneScape, we still have people playing a lot of the old N64 games, a lot of people still go back and play like GoldenEye, and those, to be honest, for the time, great graphics. Maybe not RuneScape. But now, not great graphics. And so, this will only be a hindrance in the future, probably, to people getting into the community, not the people who have been in the community. And so, I don't see this as a massive problem. I just see it as something of a concern. And so that's just graphics. Right now, though, with the way the graphics are, I like how it looks, even though I'm playing it on the lowest setting of graphics because my graphic card is a piece of crap, and I'm hoping to get a new one soon. But even with that, the way it flows from mountains into valleys and from grasslands into deserts, it feels natural, and really like the look of it. You go into caves, they feel cavernous. So I really like where they're at right now for graphics, and that may change, like I said, in 10 years, but I think for right now, as long as the game comes out in the next 2-3 years, which I don't know when exactly it'll come out, but as long as it comes out before 5, 6, 7, 8 years go by, which I do not see it being that long. I think, in my opinion, I'm hoping for about a 2 to 3 year release. Again, I don't know for sure when it's going to come out. I'm not saying that's when it's going to come out, but I think it'll be better on the graphics end if it comes out. Now, obviously, gameplay and stuff like that is way more important, so we want to make sure all of that stuff is good before the game comes out. But that's graphics. The feel of combat. Does combat bring you into the game more or put you out of the game more? And so, one example of this is, you're playing a again, I'll use World of Warcraft just because I've played a lot of it, and you're sitting there at level 50, or whatever max level in Classic was. It's not level 50, it's level 60. You're playing a Frost Mage, and you're doing the Molten Core raid, and you're sitting there pressing one button the entire time. That is not riveting gameplay. Now, the good thing about that is it shows that you don't necessarily have to have the absolute best combat system for people to enjoy your game. Ashes of Creation right now, there are 3 classes out. I've tried 2 of them, and for the most part, the combat feels pretty good. I've only tried 2 of the classes, or archetypes, sorry, not classes, archetypes. But from, as a mage, you're throwing fireballs, it feels good. The animations feel good, everything about it. And so, as of right now, for what we have, the combat feels good. I'd like to see more of the skill shots incorporated. Like, for example, I thought the warrior, so he has a charge, or not the warrior, the tank archetype has a charge, and then he also throws a chain spear to pull. I figured that chain spear he threw was going to be a skill shot. As of right now, it's not. We'll see if it becomes one later, but that kind of stuff I think will actually make the game more, bring it into the game more. It makes you pay more attention, especially if you're doing PvP. You gotta, aim those skill shots. So we'll see what happens with that. But right now, as it stands, and again, there are only 3 archetypes. I've only played 2 of them. So until we get all 8 archetypes, and we get to play around with them a little bit more, which I do fully plan on doing when the game comes out, we won't know exactly how combat feels. But as a point, in my opinion, right now, combat feels good. Story. I don't know how much of a very in-depth story this is going to have. And so I like to liken it, there are different kinds of stories. So you have a game like Star Wars The Old Republic that is absolutely story-focused and probably one of the best story-based MMORPGs out there. It's fully voice-acted, it's, you've got scripted cutscenes, you get your own personal quest for your class that you walk through, you get to make decisions. And I know for the Imperial Trooper, not the Imperial Trooper, the Imperial Agent, that there was something like 12 different endings to the story that vary widely. And so I really like that. But you have other games, and now I'm going to pick a non-MMO here, another game that I think a lot of people know, Dark Souls. It has a story, but if you just play from start to finish, you might not really get the story, and that's okay for that kind of thing. I know that I like going and listening to people who've dove in and are pulling out the story. I think Ashes is going to be somewhere in between that. I think they're going to have story that you get as you go through the game, but I don't think it's going to be very pushed in your face. I don't think it's going to be like in World of Warcraft where you have people like, why am I gapping on every single person's name right now? Like Malfear in Stormrage or Illidan. You're not going to have these big people who are like, oh, these are consistent characters throughout the story. What is going to be, I think, for the story aspect, with that kind of thing, you're not going to have character NPCs. You're going to have players being that. You're going to have guilds being that. You're going to have this castle that's been ruled by a guild for like a year, and then they're going to get taken out. And that's going to be a huge story moment for the community on that specific server. And I think that's a really cool thing that has the potential of just really evolving the story of the world. Yeah, you might not be able to go and listen to the Ashes of Creation story, but if you're a part of the Ashes community on that server especially, and I think something that would be cool, this is a complete side note, and maybe I'll try and start something up, is to have a Discord specific to that server, where people who are on that server can come and join the Discord so they can talk about stuff that's going on. That might not work because, you're going to have over 10,000 people on a server, but I think that would be a really cool idea, is just having like a Discord where people can go. Even Ashes could set that up where people can go and go to the servers they play on, and they could like talk about things that are going on, you know, share about the stories that are going on to them. And I think that would be really cool. But I think that's what the story is more. You're gonna have a background story from the world and the NPCs that very much like people will probably make video about, talking about like what happened in the past of this world, what ruined the world, and stuff like that going forward. But I think the larger story is going to be server by server, made by players, and I think that's a really cool idea. And the only downside to that is when you're a new player coming into a server, you're not going to get to experience those moments. And yeah, that sucks, but then from the moment you start and you start paying attention to the server, that's when you're starting to connect with the story. And so again, pros and cons to that. You're not going to just get all the story of the server when you start, but I think it's a really good way to bring people more in. It makes them more active potentially. It makes you feel more like a part of the story than going in a 40-man raid and killing a boss and then later on being told that, you know, Thrall killed that boss in actuality or something like that. So that's story. Quests. I don't know exactly what all of the quests are going to look like. Right now in alpha, there are a decent amount of kill quests. There are quests that require you to do jump maps, which I really like. I think that's a cool idea. I think they should continue having quests that have jump maps involved with them. There are dungeon quests, and questing can become very tedious when you're continually told to go and kill and do this over and over again. And so this, like, I don't have a great view of where they are at in this, if this is going to be a major pro or con. But when you're sent to kill bandits for the 100th time, it becomes very tedious. You don't want to do it. And all the people on this MMO board, they are, or on Intrepid Studios, they've played MMOs, they have a passion for MMOs. So I don't expect the quests to be boring. Now, yes, there's going to be tedium when you're questing because you're questing. It's probably just going to happen. But I think that they have a good place that they're starting from. I don't know how good this is going to be in the end game. I'm really hoping that there are a wide variety of different quests rather than just kill quests, rather than just go collect these from this enemy. But again, I haven't seen enough of it to really say for sure that that's the way they're going. And just to give an example of this is like, it doesn't matter what kind of game you're playing. We were doing a D&D campaign where I was playing with my friends. We had a new DM. He normally was one of the players. Myself or one of our other buddies normally DM. But he was a new DM. And I think like we started calling the game Bandits and Bullets because we fought bandits and bullets a lot. Now, it is a joke that even that DM will joke about now. It's just, we fought so many bandits, and it felt like 10 sessions in, we were still fighting bandits. Now, that's not the case. I think it was like 4 sessions in a row. We fought different bandit camps. And that's, you know, it is what it is. And so that's just one of those things that it can become tedious. It can really draw you out of the game when you're just sitting there killing the same thing over and over again. I really hope that's not the way they're going. But again, this is one I can't really give an opinion on because I haven't seen enough of it to really be pulled either way. I'm kind of in the middle right now. I've seen some cool ideas for quests, but I've seen a lot of the generic kill quests as well. So we'll see where that goes. Another thing that kind of goes along with quests that I think will be really cool for the escapism aspect is, especially for MMOs, part of the escapism is playing with your friends. And they're talking about having a mentor program where 2 players can sign up for a quest, one being a higher level player, one being a lower level player. And so if you are somebody who's going to be going hardcore on this, and you have, you know, say you're playing whatever hardcore for you is, like 6 to 8 hours a day, let's say, but you have a friend who's only playing 2 hours a day, you then are going to very much out-level that friend very quickly. But you can pick up one of these mentor quests, you can still play together. I think that's a really cool idea. I really hope it works out well, and if it does, I think that'll be great for the game, great for the longevity of the game, because then as you get to max level with you and your friends, maybe you make a new character, they can help you. I think that's an awesome idea. Really looking forward to it. And the last thing about escapism is when you are dealing with other players who are farming you. So it really sucks when you're sitting there being farmed. And if you go back to the first video where I talk about the community, I have a point in there that's called Some People Like to Be Trolls. There are going to be times in the game where people are just going to continue killing you over and over again. And so I do have some advice that maybe I'll make a later video on how to deal with this. But for right now, I really am hopeful in this scenario with the way they have set it up where you can flag for PvP or not, and if you don't fight back, yes, they will get more of your loot that is not crafted. So all of your tags, so your wolf pelts, they'll get some of those. And if you don't fight back, they'll get more of that. But they become a red player and can get hunted by bounty hunters. And so I think this will really help people who are level 50 to stop them from going and killing level 10s, level 20s, because the further the level difference, the longer they're going to have to work to get rid of that red status. And so I really think this is a good way to allow trolling in games, to allow people to play the way they want to play, but to also punish people who are doing that. Now, you are still going to have people to do that. You are probably going to have guilds that do that, and that's okay. I think it's a good way to work with it. I'm really excited for this system. Again, we have to see it in a larger sense, but as of right now, I think it's great. And so when it comes to the escapism of the game, I'm really hopeful. I think there are a few areas where the game might have some issues with questing and stuff like that, which I think a lot of MMOs have issues with questing because it feels tedious. But we still play MMOs, so that's not the biggest area for escapism. I think I wandered around the world for a few hours just wandering around looking at the scenery, so I think that's a great asset. I think the way that combat feels right now, yes, they're still improving it, but it feels fairly good for what it is right now in Alpha 1. And so I think out of all three of these areas, you know, with the community, with the challenge of the game not making it too easy, and with the escapism, I think that they have set a really good foundation for this. And the next video I'm going to be making is going to be tempering expectations about this, and so expect that this coming up weekend. Because yeah, that's really important too, is to remember this game is still in alpha, and so we'll be talking about that this weekend, because I don't want to get people too hyped to the point where they're like, oh, this game is going to be absolutely amazing when we get to see it on the 9th. You know what? It probably is not going to be the most amazing thing you've seen because it's still in alpha, but we're going to talk more about that this coming weekend with my video, and I hope you all have a great day. Links to my Twitch and Discord will be down below, and I hope I hope you come and check me out while I'm streaming the game. Again, I won't be on Twitch very much until the game comes out, and then once it's out, I will be streaming it as much as possible, so feel free to come and check me out. Anyway, have a great day. Peace out.